simply put, what would keep any business owner up at night would be project budget overrun, would be a project delay, would be labor shortages, would be able to deliver on time and on budget. Those would be the key factors, and understanding what your costs are and making sure that you have profit. Those would be the simple items that would be considered and would keep anybody up at night.
Yeah, I agree. And some of the other things that they have to think about is this next generation of people that they're hiring. Do they have the right technology in place for them to be able to, that they want to use? Not just to, it's great to have information that they like, but as you bring in the next wave of laborers and site supers and project managers, you want to make sure that you have a system in place that they would like to use as well.
And I'd just add to that too, just general labor shortages across the industry, specialty contractors, union laborers, project managers, with all the increased construction, there just seems to be general labor shortages out there that, I'm sure keep them up at night and employee turnover.
Well, that ties in what Laurent was saying, because labor shortages means that there's a demand for those resources, and they would be attracted to a technology platform that would be suitable for them and that they would want to work with going forward. So in order to attract that labor force, since there is a shortage, you would want the best resources available to your company. And a technology platform might be a driving factor.
Yeah, for sure. I was at a contractor just yesterday in Dallas, and they're using terminal services to get data from the field. And they have a difficult time when they show that to new hires so there's no iPad, I can't use my phone to do my work. I have to log in to a different computer, completely foreign to them.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, every one of these guys stay up at night just wanting to make sure that they're making the profit that they estimated on their budgets. And all of these things become factors, when they're managing these complex construction projects. I think in construction, the biggest concern is scheduling delays and cost overruns. If everything were to be done exactly the way the projects are bid, it's done in a certain amount of time, it's done in a certain amount of budget, and you walk away at the end of the project with a certain amount of profit. But we all know that never works that way. Hence the reason why people run CMiC software and other types of solutions that we offer to manage that level of complexity.
Yeah, no question. Cost overruns and project delay is a primary concern, and it leaks into reputational damage, because if you're not able to deliver and you're not able to commit to the budget and what was proposed to your owner and your customer, then the reputational damage is quite extreme, and you won't get the next job, et cetera, et cetera. There's an amplifying effect for not being able to deliver.
Yeah, I was about to say, so it was definitely cascades. From the moment, if you don't have the right system, if you don't have enough people, if you're going to run a delay, it's so hard to make that up further down the road. So that cascading effect, and then to your reputation, yes, we've worked with that contractor in the past, but they're always delayed. It's always more than what we expected. So if they can't meet those targets, it's very damaging in the long term.
One other item to consider is the compliance and regulatory management of the delivery. So whether it be delivering your taxes on time, or whether it be other safety issues, other regulations that are quite detailed in the construction realm, they have to be compliant. And in order to manage that compliance, you need the right tools and technology in order to get that compliance managed, and so that you could be regulated and follow the regulation as possible.
Yeah, I'd say even in California right now, the statutory requirements that are requiring, laborers to check in and check out and ensure that they're taking appropriate breaks, and, that they had a safe work day, and having that all documented in order to meet their labor requirements is a big issue that we've been addressing for a very long time.
So CMiC's applications help address these challenges that we've been discussing in a number of different ways. I was with a contractor just Monday in Phoenix, and when they originally bought CMiC, they were just under $100 million in revenue, and now they've grown to over $500 million in revenue. And one of the things the CEO said to us at dinner was, by having the system in place early on, and as he made the joke, there's never a good time to put an ERP system. Jeff likes to make the comment, it's changing the tires on an F1 car during the race kind of thing. So it's always a difficult thing to do.
Just to correct,
Changing the engine?
The engine, yeah. The tires are easy. It's changing the engine in the middle of the race.
So and one of the things he was so happy that they made that decision about 5-6 years ago is they had the systems in place, they had the processes defined, everything was ready to go. And then when that growth came, because they knew they had a large number of projects starting, they were able to scale and achieve that growth and not have to continuously add overhead to eat into their margins. So it's a huge testament to having the right system, having the right people, and all that coming together so they could achieve the growth that they've had over the past 5 years.
Yeah, I would agree. I was at a contractor last week in Pittsburgh, and they're using our project management and project controls and accounting application, and they want their specialty division to start adapting CMiC, and they're measuring productivity on a daily basis in the field, but they're not allowing that data to flow into an analytics tool so they can make appropriate crew adjustments on the following day, which can, in essence, cost them all the profitability on the job on a daily basis. So, CMiC gives you the opportunity to use our unit production capture tool and app and time capture to pull all that data so they can make daily decisions, on that crew mix so they can maintain the profitability they're looking for.
So with CMiC on a single database platform that encompasses pretty much every aspect of the functional requirements of a user or a construction company, you have the transparency of every single data point. Whether it be time capture, whether it be units put in place, whether it be cost, anything that would drive a revenue item would be already captured in the system that could drive revenue, and you can understand what the profitability is very, very quickly. So adjustments can be made with a crew mix or a material purchase or whatever the case may be in order to ensure that the profitability is continuously maintained along the way. The transparency and visibility to the enterprise, which is enabled by CMiC, gives that capability to the ownership and management in order to make the right decisions at the right time.
Yeah, I would just add to that too, all of our general contractor customers, their main priority is managing subcontractors, and the collaboration and coordination across that subcontractor base has to be seamless. And they do that through using our document management, RFIs and submittals and drawing management, and ensuring that each one of those trades is coordinated on a daily basis through our collaborative tools to ensure that there's no additional delays, which will eventually cost money and more profit erosion and change orders through the subcontractor. So the document management component of CMiC is really priceless for them in order to manage that project appropriately.
Some examples of contractors that I've spoken with that get much better sleep is the ones that really deploy the solution the way it's intended to be used. One example is a company we have in Central Canada, Surfco Canada, where having been live on the system for less than 3 years, have been able to cut their overhead staff by 50%. And she actually says 60%, but even if we, tether the number just a little bit, but 50% where they've been able to continuously grow, take on more work, and reduce that kind of a spend is a huge win for them. And that's one of the things she says during reference calls is we have the system in place, we have the people running it properly, we know how to use it, and we've been able to do more with a lot less. So that's just a great testament.
That is so similar to a large contractor that we have, Power Construction, based in Chicago, and they're an early adopter of CMiC back in the mid-90s, and they had the vision that we shared with them, and they adopted quite readily, which is a single database platform across the entire enterprise. They understood even then how important it would be, and even though we didn't have project management capabilities at the time, they understood that we would be building that out. Very shortly after they implemented, the CFO, Dave, always said to us over and over again, he was able to scale and double their growth at the time, and now they're over $1 billion a year in annual revenue. They were able to scale without adding burden, just like you said, without adding G&A, and they even cut their AP staff and their billing staff by half in order to even achieve that revenue targets that they put in place, which is a tremendous accolade towards the validation of what CMiC offers, the ability to scale without adding cost in order to achieve that scale.
And I think it's interesting when a customer joins CMiC, they are staying up at night and they choose CMIC because they want to get more sleep, right? And so finally, after they, finish the implementation and implement CMIC, they can rest easy because they see all the efficiencies that they gain. But CMIC is constantly rolling out new product, and those customers are constantly evolving. So I think that their sleep patterns are changing quite a bit because they're like, oh my gosh, CMIC just launched this product. Now I'm going to lose some sleep until we get that implemented. Or we just bought this company and it's a little bit different than the company that we just implemented. So now we need to make sure that they are gaining the same efficiencies as the other company that we just implemented. So our goal isn't always to allow them to rest easy.
Yeah, that's true. But it's also a benefit that as they acquire a company, they know that the system's already there in place. It's just a rollout. Now it is, there's some work that's involved with that, but they're able to do more, like Jeff said, with less. And it solves that earlier problem we talked about where there's that labor shortage. So if they can keep people they have and keep them busy and able to get more work, well, they're just poised for more success down the road. And that enables them to, it's great to buy a company, but if you can't tuck it in the way you want to tuck it in and have it running as efficiently as the others, there's another headache that's going to keep them up, right?
It reminds me of a story. I was at a trade show a couple of years ago, and one of our customers' users, I didn't know who they were. They just came up to us and just wanted to chat since we were the vendor. They're a user of CMIC software. And it was about 5 or 6 years after they implemented a large billion-plus type of company and in terms of annual revenue. And they said, you know what? I used CMIC, was it this company DPR before we implemented CMIC, and now we're 5-6 years into it. I can't even imagine how we existed without the system in place. There's just no way we could do what we're doing now in terms of our capability and our growth and our visibility and transparency to what's going on without a system like this. And can't even remember how we existed without it.
What's really cool is to see customers start with CMIC. In some cases, I can think of one customer that started with 2 employees and now is a $300-400 million contractor, and a company that maybe started as $1 billion and now is $10 billion. So, there's all different strokes for all these different companies and how they achieve what they're looking for. And we have serviced the small contractors, the mid-sized contractors, and the larger contractors all equally.
The 7 integrated processes that we like to promote that are identifiable with the delivery of CMIC software to the marketplace are really defined as historically siloed data points or siloed databases in different systems. You would have a business development system like a CRM system, but it would be completely isolated from your ERP or your accounting system. You would have a ability to manage your compliance, but not necessarily have it integrated to a payment management system. You would have the ability to run your RFIs and submittals in your project management system, but not necessarily have it connected to cost, such as a change management. So you have many, many different systems out there. You would have a good CRM system, you would have an accounting system, you would have a payroll system, you would have a revenue generation system, you would have a forecasting system, you would have a CPM system. They all are great systems that are out there that are standalone. But when you combine all those capabilities onto a single database platform, such as CMIC, so when you start a job, it could start right from the business development of your salespeople that have been in the marketplace, drumming up business, but working completely isolated from what an estimate would be. So having the ability to have a job initiation process from your CRM and opportunity management to a job right in the same system and see what the potential revenue is going to be, what is going to be the potential revenue on a time phase basis ongoing is very, very valuable. It's a CFO's dream to have that visibility. If you have the ability to have your project managers forecasting on a daily basis or a monthly basis into the project, but then have the aggregate value of that forecast culminate into a work in process or a revenue recognition process, which is really an accounting function, and to have that seamlessly available to accounting, that is invaluable. That is just standard in CMIC software. So these are the great values that CMIC as a single database platform presents to the marketplace.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Jeff. And I don't even know if it's 7 integrated processes anymore. I think it probably closer to 15 or 20. the resource planning module that we just recently launched, there's a lot of standalone resource planning applications out there, but CMiC is the only resource planning module that links into HR, links into payroll, links into job costing, links into the CRM, links into general conditions forecasting. I mean, that's a massive, integrated process. And if you think about I like to call them nested processes in between that one application and all the different items that it touches, we have thousands of those nested processes throughout CMiC. And the productivity gains that you get from not doing duplicate entry across all those applications are like uncountable. It's really incredible, some of the things that we've recently launched. And, as I'm talking, I'm even thinking of more applications that are integrated. So,
think of
the list
capturing
goes
time
on.
in the field.
Time capture.
Time capture. They would use either a standalone product, or they would give in paper time cards, or those that thought they were ahead of the curve would use Excel. But then that data's got to get into the job cost. So that's a manual entry. Then that's got to get to payroll. So there's all, to your point, these little processes that happen in between that are manually done, that when we show how that gets automated, all these light bulbs go on during a demonstration. Oh, so I can get rid of this system and I can get rid of that system. And all of a sudden they're thinking it's not just an ERP of what they thought of it traditionally or why we're there, but the ability to expand it and to, from you think about it from a time savings perspective and from a cost perspective to the contractor, they can reduce those systems, because with CMiC, it's a single database platform, everything on one. They get more and more excited as this demonstration happens.
Speaking of time capture, I literally just got an email yesterday from a CFO documenting all of the benefits of CMiC time capture, and he wanted me to review it to make sure that he wasn't overselling it, because he was taking it to his board of directors for 2 or 3 other companies that they run, because he's so excited about getting it implemented for those other companies.
The future outlook for CMiC as it relates to business expansion is really varied. There's just from a broad perspective, there's a geographic expansion, and then there's market penetration expansion. So about 7 or 8 years ago, we had launched our multi-tenanted or cloud-enabled deployment. Up until then, we've been a single instance deployment, and usually concentrated specifically to the enterprise, what we call the enterprise, which means very large contractor, $300 million and above in annual revenue, and mostly even only the general contractor. We've expanded the functionality of the system in order to accommodate self-performing and specialty contractors. That has increased the market space as well. So that's into the marketplace. So we've been able to go from a market potential or addressable market of maybe 300 to 400 contractors to now 10,000 contractors in North America alone. So that has been a tremendous success. Laurent leads the mid-market team, while Dan leads the enterprise team, which we're making headway on a consistent basis in both markets in a very, very aggressive and successful way. There's also a geographic expansion, the expansion to different markets. We had the fortune of being very successful in our first forays into the Middle East. So we have a number of very large contractors in UAE and now Saudi Arabia. We're looking to expand that footprint into additional contractors into the region. There's no reason why we can't address other geographies like the UK or other English-speaking markets like Australia, even French-speaking markets like Quebec, believe it or not, or France. Or Spanish markets, which we have contractors that work in Mexico, and we can take that into the South American markets. So there's a number of areas that we can expand. We've been very profitable, and we've been growing in an organic and deliberate way, yet our market penetration is so enabled for growth that we have so much more to grow. And we have that runway that is just beyond our vision right now, that we have just doing what we do and changing gears and doing it better enables us to have a great future going forward.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the fact that CMiC is multilingual as well as, multi-denominational across different countries, that we can manage that's pretty unique. And inside the United States of America, the specialty market has been booming in CMiC. So as Jeff mentioned, we started selling to general contractors, but on the specialty side, I mean, we are trending 100% year over year on specialty contractors, and the feature function set in CMiC's job costing and project controls and, accounting has really allowed that market to kind of boom, which has opened up a lot of new opportunities for us.
There's also a void when you think about it. There are less ERP systems today than they were, let's say, 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago.
Vertically.
Yeah, vertically ERP systems.
Yeah.
By us having that foundation, the underpinnings to the financial piece of our software from 1995, for that matter, has really enabled us to be prepared for that growth. As more and more of these companies get acquired, they disappear, and then all of a sudden they look around and say, well, who can do what we need to do? And that expansion is just, and that's why we went specialty, because there's pretty much not a system today that identifies that specialty market anymore. They all got acquired and they've pretty much been put out to pasture. And here we are continuing to forge ahead with new functionality, new enhancements, and addressing what the markets were requiring. So it's, I mean, the world's our oyster when you think about it.
Yeah. Shows you live long enough to benefit from it for the long term.
It's more of enjoying a real nice glass of scotch, sitting back, big ice cube, and just chilling with that, and then really reflecting on the week that, like, I love those weeks. I just had a spectacular week. I was, zigzagging. I went from Toronto to Phoenix to Dallas back, and then home. And I can't wait to just chill tomorrow night and really just reflect on it, because you have weeks like that where you meet customers and you meet prospects, and it's just a great relationship. We have a very unique ecosystem that they don't see that with other vendors. They just don't have that. We have people that come to our user conference and they'll say, no one does a user conference like you guys do. No one has that ecosystem, that intimacy that they have with their clients, because a lot of times they're so removed from their clients because it's through a private equity firm or a venture capitalist or through a partner, and they just don't have that relationship that they could talk to, someone like Jeff, who's been in the industry for
it's okay. You don't have to.
For a few years. For a few years.
Benjamin Button here.
But that experience is just, it's so valuable. And that just, Dad's been with CMIC for almost 20 years now, and I've been coming up on 15. And just having that experience and that knowledge and sharing that with our ecosystem is, I love it. Like, it's just such a unique experience we have.
Yeah, it really is. And being able to go back to our, the guys that program our applications and that design the applications, and for all of us to be on the same page when we're talking about a particular client, is very unique. But to answer the question about my food of choice, when I go home, I'm looking for just a nice plain slice of pizza at my favorite Brooklyn pizzeria. Just a cheese pizza. Oh yeah, real pizza from Salvatore's. Yeah.
It's more than a party. It's a really a reunion. It's a family reunion. And that's really the way people feel when they come to CMIC Connect. CMIC Connect is, right, people maybe get to see each other once a year. Maybe they come to the quarterly workshops and they get to see each other a little bit more frequently. But I would say the bulk of the attendees really only get to see each other once a year, and it's at Connect. And it's a reunion. And it's familial, and it's comforting. And as it was mentioned, it's intimate.
Invigorating.
And it's invigorating because there's a lot of energy. Exactly. There's a lot of energy that gets infused and pumped into people, and people go back to their companies and say, there's things that we need to achieve that we haven't. And they want to use more of CMIC. They want to adopt new functionality, new capabilities, and expand the footprint of CMIC within their organizations.
And building the relationship, we already have a solid relationship with our customers. They're calling us, they're texting us, we're meeting with them on a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis, but to see them, face to face, I mean, nothing beats the face-to-face interaction, and, to eat with them and hang out with them and dance with them. It just, the bonds just keep getting tighter and tighter. And that's why companies like Power Construction that you just mentioned, I think they're coming on their 30th anniversary of CMIC, which is pretty crazy. The customer service from our group is critical. We pride ourselves in being the bridge into this office, and into our organization, and being the face of CMIC. There's really zero tolerance for anything other than a pleasant experience for these customers, and solving their problems and pushing them into new applications and finding the right people for them to talk to. Finding another customer that's doing something similar for them, trying to just make them feel comfortable in the organization. It's our job, and, quite frankly, it's our duty in CMIC to make sure that they can fit that puzzle piece into CMIC. And I think that's kind of what keeps us going, because we have a lot of customers now, and we're also bringing a lot of new new customers. So, managing both of those simultaneously is how this ends up working very magically, because you have to do that in order for them to talk to each other and hang out. So
it's definitely very important when you have that relationship with them, and it goes both ways. It means when they need our help, we're there, and when we need their help, that they're there for us in terms of talking to more prospects and introducing us to some of their subcontractors that would benefit from the solution. So it's a tough or a difficult line to sometimes, because we're chasing new business all the time, but we don't forget about the customers we've worked with for the past 15, 20 years and even longer on some of them. But it gives them, they know that they can talk to us, and they can get the responses. And it all goes back to just the entire CMiC philosophy of where it is a single database platform. It's our solution. We developed it. We designed it. We programmed it. We support it. And they know that they're going to get the responses. And you hear it all the time from when they're coming from other systems, that they can't get responses because that system got acquired by another company, and the people that know that system aren't there anymore. So it's so disjointed with the other software providers compared to what we provide.
I mean, there's a reason why in CMiC, our customer success department belongs under the revenue department. And it's not because of retention and expansion. It's because we understand that in order for us to be successful, our customers have to be successful. They have to be a success. And customer success is, for us, the cornerstone, if you will, where how we're able to expand our footprint and our message to the prospect base. The only way. Well, hope you're able to sleep better at night, and we were able to help contractors and our customers do better.